morning. This is on State of Florida versus Jamel Demmons. Present is Mr. Demmons. Mr. Demmons, can you hear us?
YNW Melly revealed a message to his family during his court hearing recently, as during Melly's court hearing it was revealed his new trial date is now October 9th. This would allow YNW Bortland's trial of October 2nd to begin a week before Melly's. However, it would also be announced YNW Melly hires a new lead attorney, Jamie Benjamin, to replace former lead David A. Howard in the upcoming retrial. Benjamin joins the returning team of Stewart and Raven Liberty. Benjamin is a legacy criminal defense attorney with a lengthy state and federal court experience in various cases. He's won several penalty cases as well. Benjamin is also a former president of the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Now, YNW Melly fired his old attorney. However, the most interesting part of the court hearing was this moment here, where it would be announced YNW Melly smiled and said, "I'm coming home," to family members in the gallery as he was leaving the courtroom.
Movement. First part of November. Good for you guys. Number 10. Very good. State 10. 10. November 10.
As YNW Melly seems very confident with his new lead lawyer. However, many believe that he shouldn't. This is due to two reasons of the mistrial even being granted in the first place, as it had nothing to do with Melly's lead lawyer, who seemingly got fired for no reason. The first reason was YNW Melly's angry lawyer. He was the reason Melly got the mistrial, as on the closing day, he was screaming over the fact the jury had to make a decision on YNW Melly's life with such little evidence.
And tell him that he's going to live life in the state penitentiary without parole or being on row. This is the investigation they want you to rely upon and say it's proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt? I guess so, according to them.
As YNW Melly's lawyer would continue on being mad inside of the courtroom, as his next argument is the original crime was a quote drive-by on the police records. Yet the police never even looked at the surrounding stores that had surveillance cameras on the outside, where they could see visibly the roads that were leading to the place of the crime. They could have checked all of the license plates from vehicles that were driving in that area in order to investigate them for a potential drive-by, but they didn't.
That he doesn't go to the on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Applebee's to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Polo Tropical or the gas station or the bank on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tapes. When the car's on 184th Avenue, he doesn't go to the fire station to check their tapes, surveillance tapes. Doesn't go back to the two elementary schools, Sunset Lakes and West Broward Elementary, to check their surveillance tape, because he knows it all. He knows it. How do you know it if you don't check?
Which is a very fair point and is likely what led to the mistrial, as well as David A. Howard getting fired by YNW Melly, as the angry lawyer is seeming to do a lot more work. However, alongside the angry lawyer, the amazing testimony from YNW Melly's 6th grade best friend revealed YNW Melly wasn't even at the crime scene.
Are you 100% sure that Melly got into the red Mitsubishi to go home?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that this young man learned of his friends at the exact same time you learned of it?
Yes.
And that was at the house?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that when people were getting on the phone that this young man was looking for his phone to call people?
Yes.
This helped YNW Melly get a mistrial in a massive way, as Davis would then even double down his claim of YNW Melly not even being there, sharing that Melly was picked up by members that were in the red vehicle that was parked at the recording studio. YNW Melly was picked up due to the members in the red vehicle needing somebody with a set of house keys to let them into the YNW mansion.
Okay, so the only two people you know who had a key to the house was this young man
Yes.
and Cortland Henry.
Yes.
Did you see this young man unlock the door of the house?
Yes.
Who was the last person to get out of the red Mitsubishi to go inside the house?
Trayvon, he was in the cot still asleep.
Did you see where Melly went?
To his room.
And where was his bedroom?
When you first walked in the house, it came missing. It's right down the left.
Okay. This is a 1 or 2 story house.
2.
As Davis then claims that he watched YNW Melly walk to the front door, open the door, and then walk straight to his bedroom to go to sleep. Then while sleeping for roughly an hour or two, members in the YNW house would begin screaming, yelling for everyone to wake up as they were learning what happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Did there come a time in the early morning hours that you were woken up and heard some distressing news?
Yes.
What did you hear?
That second Julie was shot.
When you heard that, did you see Melly in the house?
Yes.
Did you see Melly how he was dressed in the house?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
Shorts and a t-shirt, I think.
As Davis would reveal that he saw YNW Melly walk out of his bedroom wearing a t-shirt and shorts when learning about the quote drive-by alongside Davis himself at that moment. This gives YNW Melly an alibi. However, the second reason for the mistrial is concerning for YNW Melly's upcoming trial. This is due to report sharing. According to a juror who served in the YNW Melly trial, claims a majority of the jurors wanted to convict him. However, one woman that was on the jury was determined to find YNW Melly not guilty, and then she convinced 2 others to say he wasn't guilty too. Quote, his mom is lying. It was 9-3 for guilty, not the other way around. Now this is a response to YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, as somebody that was on the YNW Melly trial wanted to do an anonymous interview afterwards to prove YNW Melly's mother wrong. As after the mistrial was granted, Melly's mother posted to Snapchat, 9 not guilty, 3 guilty. It was a mistrial, my son will be home. Now, however, it gets much deeper than this, as the juror that was causing the issues knew allegedly from the beginning she was not going to change her mind at all about YNW Melly being guilty or not.
Now, this is from Local 10 News right out of Fort Lauderdale, and they said most jurors wanted to convict Melly of 2 counts of the Broward County, the former juror has said. Now, this juror is speaking on the condition of anonymity, which means that they're not going to disclose their identity. The juror blamed the mistrial on one woman who served on the jury who appeared to be determined to acquit Jamel Demons. The juror goes on to say that from day one, she had issues with the 4-person selected, at one point crossing her arms and saying that she was done. When another juror asked to not shut down and she set her feelings aside, she was manipulative, she was rude, she yelled insults at everyone, and she was just had a different opinion. The juror stated that she was there just to cause chaos.
Sources claim this one juror wanted to be a quote hero, possibly wanting fame or financial gain to be the one to save YNW Melly in this case. The original votes against YNW Melly was 11-1 for being guilty, with the one juror that wanted to be a hero voting not guilty all alone. She would then be doing something very unexpected to try to bring more jurors to the not guilty side.
On the last day of deliberation, the former juror said that while it appeared that there was 11-1 to convict Demons, with the woman pulled 2 jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes and convinced them to come to her side. They stated, and I quote, "Then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds, but when another juror asked why she was speaking for them, the former juror said, adding that the woman then hurled insults, including at the man who was questioning her. And without an agreement, Broward County Circuit Judge John J. Murphy declared the mistrial, and you guys remember that.
As if it wasn't for this juror that wanted to be a hero, YNW Melly would be sentenced to life inside a prison right now. However, the juror that did the interview mentioned why they even spoke about the trial in the first place, wanting to expose the one juror that was a hero, as well as trying to expose YNW Melly's mother.
The former juror said that the decision to speak up about what happened behind the scenes resulted from reports from Demon's mother, Jamie King, who said that they were deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of an acquittal, which again, we find out from this juror, is incorrect. The former juror said it was actually the opposite. She said that she had came out because she said, I don't want someone out there changing my vote. And she then goes on to say that you tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. Now here's the best snippet. It says the next hearing for the case is on August 4th, and Demon's team, as well as the prosecutors, agreed to start jury selection for the next trial on October 2nd. But again, we don't know if the judge is going to agree to a dual trial.
Due to the second YNW Melly trial, most likely not having a juror that wants to be a hero, he now has a high possibility of being sentenced. This is likely due to the YNW Bortland interrogation that was leaked this week, where Bortland can be heard saying this happened out of jealousy.
Let's talk about why. Are you having issues with anyone?
I mean, we are upcoming artists and stuff, so people like, you know, when you like start doing better than people, they start hating and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So you had some jealousy issues.
Yeah, it's like jealousy issues, but gotten it. I haven't really been on there, but like he like my friend that's when I got blessed, he was telling me like, right. He always telling me about how people, just like today, he was telling me some folks from up our way.
What's up your way?
Like Vero
Beach?
Beach, like that's where I used to stay. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up there. So that's our hometown. You know what I'm
So
saying?
what did your friend say about from Vero Beach? What was he saying to you?
He was saying basically just like they were on like Instagram, Facebook, like sneak.
This was never revealed during the YNW Melly trial. However, it does relate to an interview on 100K Track, aka Melly's manager said during trial in an off-the-record interview, where he would answer the question of why he believes that it was a drive-by.
Who would want Melly and his friends? Did anybody ever threaten him and the other guys before this happened? You know, Bortland said this was a drive-by.
When you in the limelight and you're making money and things like that, you're gonna receive hate. You're gonna receive, things from everywhere, from people you know, people you don't know, people who probably feel obligated or feel, entitled to things, people who might not even know you from the campaign and just don't like you. So, as an entertainer, your life is always, being somebody or someone.
As around the time the crime occurred, YNW Melly's music career was beginning to take flight. He was still, however, recording at a local recording studio that had zero security on the outside or inside. It's very possible someone could have known the location of Melly at the time, as while at that time, Melly was being recruited by 3 street teams according to cell phone evidence shown inside the trial. However, 100K Track would then get into more detail about if it was a drive-by, then who would have done it.
Bortland said this was a drive-by. Have you ever thought about who would have done something like this?
It would have been so much people, you know what I'm saying? It could have been so much people, because like at the end of the day, this man was like, had jewelry, had a large sum of money and things like that, and don't know where it could have came from, but I do know it came from somewhere, and maybe one day we'll use our resources to find out who really did it and bring justice to
The answer of knowing YNW Melly had cash and jewelry on him at the recording studio could be a valid reason for somebody wanting to target him. Florida is known to be a high crime area. Knowing a group of rappers are at a local recording studio with stacks of cash, including diamond jewelry, could be a golden ticket for many street members. However, later in the Bortland interrogation, the officer would then ask him, if you know who did this, would you tell me?
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly,
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
Where YNW Bortland does not give a firm yes or no answer using his voice. Instead, he shakes his head side to side, referencing no. This is because if it was YNW Melly who did this crime, Bortland would obviously know that. So saying no to the officer to his question could have caused his voice to come out at a different volume than what he's been using during the entire interrogation, and that would be due to him lying. This would then be an obvious indicator to the police that Bortland knows a lot more than what he's sharing, as the officer would then want more details of the in-the-moment actions made by YNW Bortland. How was he driving? Did he crash? Did he see license plates or faces, etc.?
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
With Bortland explaining to the officer the actions that he was making, it was pretty clear the officer was not buying it. As the officer even stated, he believes he knows what happened, but he doesn't want to say. And this is due to them examining the Jeep that they were driving in. It didn't look exactly like a regular vehicle that has gone through a real drive-by, which is why we saw Sergeant Williams reveal that after investigating the vehicle, there's no way this could have been a drive-by.
Assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive. And my determination was that this is not a drive-by, and it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done. One is done at a stationary position. The at a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in. The one round that has some movement in it, which is round site L here. The actually moving in that to create the little bit of a that you see there.
Okay, a lot of information in that answer, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned so I'm gonna zoom in on site F.
As he took note of every single hole that was inside of the vehicle, and then he used what is known as the stick method to find out how the holes were created, including the direction of where it could have came from, including the angle from YNW Melly's seat.
Number, you said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car?
3.
And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas is coming from outside of the car?
Yes. From the driver's side back seat.
As to the shot that Christopher Thomas, where did that come from?
Driver's side back seat.
Okay. Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car?
No.
Why not?
There is no time.
As with Sergeant Williams guaranteeing the crime must have occurred from the person in the back left seat, they would then call YNW Juvie's mother to the stand to confirm where everyone was sitting in the car.
Are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Positive 21915. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
And is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
And Jamel, is that the defendant, Jamel Demons?
Yes, ma'am.
With the jury hearing the crime must have happened from somebody inside of the car, alongside Juvie's mother revealing where everyone was seated, we would then see YNW Juvie's father do an off-the-record interview, where he would reveal he believed Melly was guilty ever since the beginning.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation when I finally talked to him in Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They wasn't reacting to, they act like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right.